Welcome back to the second episode of Manchester to Madrid. Now, in the last video like this, I talked about United's first two games in the Champions League group stage. We got an expected win against Young Boys and a disappointing draw at home to Valencia. And we also talked about our league form in between those games and how that would affect our chances of progressing in this year's competition. Now, after that goalless draw at Old Trafford on matchday 2, there was the comeback against Newcastle, which we mentioned briefly in the last video, followed by a 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge, which, had you offered me that early on in the season, I would have probably said yes. But this result ended up feeling more like a loss. We were literally moments away from grabbing all 3 points, and then we let it slip. So rather than it feeling like a hard-earned point, it felt like 2 dropped. But despite that late disappointment, I was somewhat hopeful of us getting a result against Juventus because the team showed grit, determination, and a togetherness that we hadn't really seen in recent weeks. Now let me set the scene. So it's match day. I'm on my way to Old Trafford, in traffic, just like the team. We're late. In fact, we're much later than the team. So we're getting into the stadium about 15 minutes into the game. We've missed a quarter of an hour of the game, but the score is still 0-0. About to take our seats and watch the rest. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Good ball. Go on, Tony. Go on, Tony. Come on. Oh. We don't even get a corner. It was a good tackle. We're getting schooled. We're getting absolutely schooled. Big save. Love that day. Let's go. Nice. Shocking. Not a single sub made. Yeah, what can I say about that game? Now, the only good things I can remember about that day are literally Lindelof's performance against Ronaldo. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I was very, very critical of him in his early stages as a United player, and I'm sure a lot of you guys were too. But in recent weeks, the boy has stepped up. You have to remember, he's only 24. He's younger than me. He's stepped up to levels I didn't imagine he could after those first few games. And he's really showing that he's grown into the position and into his role as a United player. He was phenomenal in that game. Dealt with Ronaldo well for most of the game. I think there was one time where Ronaldo got away and got a shot off, but De Gea came to our aid, of course. And the other positive was that I met United legend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You can't tell me Solskjaer is not a legend. UCL 99, you know, do I need to say any more? And on top of that, I met Patrice Evra as well, though he's been questionable on social media of late. But yeah, the result, extremely disappointing that day. It wasn't our worst performance, but the disappointing thing was that we were outclassed by a team where, historically, you'd kind of put us like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, a game like that should have been more competitive for Juventus. Like, we should have stepped up a bit more. Do you know what I mean? However, in reality, they looked several levels above us. They were in control for the whole game. Really, a 1-0 scoreline was flattering for us because they had us exactly where they wanted us the whole game. You would have thought they were the home side watching that performance. Anyway, moving on from that game, we then managed to pick up wins against Everton at home and Bournemouth away. Now, the Everton result was quite a comfortable United performance up until Chris Smalling gave away a late penalty, which let them back into the game and made the last few moments very tense. But really, that is a game that we should have seen out long before the final whistle, and we did miss a couple late chances to seal the deal. And that lack of clinicality is something that would definitely cost us against the bigger sides, so need to be more clinical. Now, the Bournemouth game was a very difficult first half to watch. Like, we were talking about Juventus outclassing us. Bournemouth all over us in that first half. Chance after chance after chance. They were a little bit wasteful, but they got the early goal, and you're thinking, as a United fan, here we go again. But an informed Tony Martial stepped up to the plate to equalise when we needed him the most, and I'm really happy for Martial this year because at times it looked like he was out of favour in the side, but he's definitely finding his feet and finding his form again in recent games, so I'm happy for him. I hope it continues. One of my favourites at the club. So yeah, the score was levelled up before the half-time break, and the second half was a bit more of a United performance. Still very, very far from where we need to be, but we were in a bit more control. We created a few more chances and we started to take the game to Bournemouth. And for once, as it got into the later stages of the game, we were cranking up the pressure more and more until they cracked and we got that late Rashford winner. I can't remember screaming that much at a United goal since Matic against Crystal Palace last year. But anyway, back-to-back 2-1 victories going into the away game against Juventus. There's a little bit of hope there, but not a lot of confidence. Really, I'm expecting them to walk us even more than they did in the first game. They've got the home advantage, and having been to the Allianz Stadium last year to watch, who was it, Juventus versus Monaco, and knowing the atmosphere that those fans create, it was always going to be a big test for our players. Here's how it played out. Yeah, shock result, but I'm not complaining. I was hopeful for 1 point, but definitely not expecting 3. However, somehow we pulled it out of the bag. I think a combination of hard teamwork and defensive work, opponents' wastefulness of chances, and a little bit of luck, plus of course the man Juan Mata with that perfectly timed bit of class. I think that's what got us through it. Literally, it was a game pretty much dominated by Juventus once more, but it felt like we carried more of a threat, and you can see more of a willingness from each player to put their body on the line and make tackles and gamble and take chances. So a combination of hard defensive work, opponent wastefulness, and a little bit of luck, plus that man Juan Mata, means that we go into the last 2 games of the Champions League group stage with a very, very good chance of qualifying. In fact, as long as we beat Valencia, we're through. However, our next game is up against Young Boys, and if we manage to do our bit and secure a win, and Juventus manage to make Valencia drop points, then we're guaranteed a place in the knockout stages of the competition. So who knows, the series might last a little bit longer than I expected, which is really sad to say as a Man United fan, because really, like, come on, man. Quarterfinals, semi-finals is where we should be. I mean, we should be aiming for the final. Who am I kidding? So like I said, next up, Young Boys at Old Trafford. It is a game that should be comfortable for us, but not one that I will be taking lightly, because since our win against Juventus, we've then dropped points against City, losing 3-1 on Derby Day. City levels above us right now, and it really aches me to say that. City fans, you'll be loving this right now. It really hurts me to say that they're a different class. Any real football fan could admit that, and I hate having to say that. And then the icing on the cake, dropping points at home to Crystal Palace. Palace, who hadn't taken a point off of us in, I think it was something like 25 years. They hadn't come to Manchester and got a point in something like 25 years. But we witnessed a ball draw. To add to it all, we lost Lindelof to injury. I'm hearing he could be out till Christmas. So who knows what centre-back partnership we're going to be running now. Oh, the stress. But anyway, it's football, anything can happen. I'm hoping results go our way. That is it for another episode of Manchester to Madrid. I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully I'm here with a smile on my face because we've qualified for the Champions League knockout stages. But who knows, it's football. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Let me know why in the comments below so I can try and improve these videos. Here's it.